Hey guys, enough said. Meet Simmons, back with another video. Today we got a video from the great Jordan B. Peterson. Today he's talking about arguing in front of your kids. So here we go.
I used to wonder, for example, if they should ever fight in front of their children. And my response to that always was, it's not whether or not you fight, it's whether or not you reconcile. And so what you want to do is model for your children the fact that there's going to be conflict about very important and difficult issues. Some of those interpersonal, but some of them just practical. That conflict is actually going to produce a fair bit of emotion, some of which might be negative and even rather intense, but that those things can be negotiated through and the relationship can come back together.
I love the video. Because here's the thing. You know, I've been married as long as we have. There's just these little cliche rules that people throw out. Never argue in front of your kids. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. What if you're in a car and you're on a road trip? Conflict is going to happen, just like you said. It's going to happen. Your kids need to also understand that mom and dad aren't perfect. I think a lot of times we have people that will come to us for coaching or counseling, and they my parents never did that. You just didn't see it. Your parents went through a bunch of bullcrap. You can't even marry somebody for an extended amount of time and not go through a bunch of bullcrap. Like that's what the best marriages are going to have conflict. And so we've definitely argued in front of our kids before, and when we argue, it's more of a discussion. I don't yell. I don't raise my voice. I don't like that kind of stuff.
I say it's a disagreement.
Yeah, I would say it's a
wouldn't
disagreement.
say like it's a flat out argument. We never raise our voice or anything like that.
But our kids have also seen us reconcile in front of them. I think that's important too, because in life you're going to have conflict. You're going to have conflicts. And if you are raised in a house where you never see it, when you hit it head on, you're gonna freeze. You're not gonna know what to do. You know what I mean? Or you hit it in your relationship, then you're just gonna be, well, I think we just need to throw the whole relationship away because we're arguing all the time. People argue all the time.
I agree, and I can attest to growing up, I would see my parents, they would get upset with each other. You can feel the tension when, and kids aren't dumb. You can feel the tension in the house. When one is upset with the other, you can feel it. And I remember feeling those tense moments and seeing them kind of disappear and go into a bedroom, into their bedroom, and then like you can see the argument happening kind of before then they go into the bedroom, then they come back out, and it's not that it was resolved, it's just that they were quiet about it. It was that quiet dissension, that quiet tension that still was lingering. So it's like there was no real resolution. So I never saw them close the loop in front of us. I never saw them say, hey, and we do this in front of our kids, hey sweetie, I'm sorry. I love you, and we'll kiss each other and hug and all that. I never saw that. I just saw them disappear and then come back, and it's like, we ain't gonna talk about it no more. And that quiet tension would last for days sometimes. It wasn't just like, okay, 30 minutes and we're done. Like, no, they're not talking, or they're relaying messages through us to one another. That lasted. And then there was periods of time where my dad would just go. He would go work, and he would be gone. He's working. He was always out, gone, whether he was doing his maintenance jobs or whatever he's doing. So
with my parents, they wouldn't necessarily kiss her, but one of them would apologize. I've seen my dad apologize, my mom apologize. That thing, it just made sense to me. Like, that's just kind of weird. So when I got married and we would have a conflict, and she would just want to run, her immediate response was to run. And I was like, where's that coming from? Like, then the more I got to find out about her parents, how she grew up, I see where it came from. But that was her immediate response, was to
get out of there,
to run away. You know, even when we were dating, it was like, you know, we would get into a disagreement. It was like, we're breaking up now. I'm like, why we gotta break up when we could just talk about it? Because what you see growing up matters.
It does.
It does, and you can bring that into. You will bring it into your marriage. What do we tell couples all the time? On your wedding day, you're gonna look great. You're gonna have your suit on, man, your tux on. She gonna have a gorgeous dress on, and behind you gonna have big duffel bags full of garbage that you're dragging down the aisle. Yeah, you're gonna have it, because we all have baggage. I don't care how great you grew up, how rich you were, how poor you were, whatever. You're gonna have baggage, and even if your baggage isn't that much, your baggage might not agree with her baggage. Her baggage might not agree with your baggage. So the best thing y'all could do is sit down and sort through the baggage.
Start unpacking it and throwing out, tossing, discarding what doesn't belong. And that's what the marriage relationship is. You really get to see what you brought into the marriage, and you start unpacking and discarding what doesn't matter or shouldn't be anymore. But that comes with time and conversations and patience. Oh my gosh,
what most people don't have.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem, is why you see so many divorces. People just don't have patience anymore. They see one thing in their partner that they don't like, and they just went out.
They flick their coat and they're out.
Yeah. Flip the coat and walk out. And that's how you get to a marriage rate that's over 50%, pushing 60, in and out the church, by the way. There is no reconciliation. It's either you do what I want you to do or I'm out of here. And then that's not even talk about the court system that incentivizes women to leave. So there's a lot going on there. But at the end of the day, if you're not willing to show your vulnerability in front of your spouse or your children, understand that dad's not a superhero. He's just a man. Understand that mom's not always right. She's just a woman, and she can be wrong, and mom can apologize. And guess what? Dad can too.
Yep.
And that's completely okay. That mom and dad, the peace that a child has when they see their parents actually love each other. Because I grew up in an environment like that. I never once thought my parents were going to get divorced. I see my parents argue. My mom is a spicy little thing, you know. And my dad's a very masculine man. You don't want to talk to my dad any kind of way. But I never once thought growing up, oh man, they're going to get divorced. I never thought that because I always saw the reconciliation. I always see them come back to each other. I always saw them loving on each other. So I never had that intense feeling or that anxiety that a lot of children have.
Before the divorce actually happened when I was 12, that was a fear. It was that, because again, I never saw them close the loop and reconcile.
That's a prime example how it goes. If you grow up in a certain kind of environment, you're gonna bring that into your marriage in some shape or form or fashion. It's gonna happen. But just don't walk away from the thing just because it's not working. You gotta work it. That's the way marriage works. If you want a happy, healthy marriage, it's gonna take some work on both of you guys.
It does. But it's worth it if you work it.
Absolutely. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So with that, that's enough said.